This is TWiT.
You also open things up in the book, and I thought this was really interesting because I'd never heard of this before, with the Lego Serious Play as kind of an example of how kind of modern management theories are being, thrown around and tried in new different ways. It's like, well, why don't we take this, these blocks of Legos and see how an employee can interpret them in a different way? And this is going to teach that employee something about themselves. It'll teach us something about our employee. When at the end of the day, is it just all baloney? Or I don't know. It's hard to know. It's hard to know if there's any there.
Right. I'm mostly glad that you said you had never heard of Lego Serious Play, because neither had I. And then as I was writing it, I thought, what if I'm like the only one who doesn't know about this and everybody knows about this? I mean, as I was working on the book, I would talk to friends of mine and who work in different industries, and nobody had heard about it. So I thought, okay, good. This really is sort of news to most people. Yeah. And most people's reaction, I think, is like yours, and mine, which was, wow, this seems really kooky. And yeah, it actually has been around for, a little bit of a while, 10, 15 years. But in the last, say, 5 years, it's really taken off because Agile trainers started using Lego workshops as part of their Agile engagements. And so as Agile took off and became this, really pervasive thing, Legos went along for the ride. But essentially, there were some people close to the Lego company who came up with this idea that you could use Legos to as a teaching tool, that it wasn't just a game thing you could do. And they created this methodology called Lego Serious Play. And it actually has a trademark, like you have to write it with the little things in parens, a TM, and it's capital L, S, and P. And they're very serious about this. And there's all this sort of quasi-science where there are papers about how this works by doing this, that, and the other thing to your brain, and it stimulates this part of your brain. And none of it's really, proved, but it sounds good. And they go in, and so for $3,000 or $5,000, you and I could go take a weekend workshop and become certified Lego trainers. And then we can go out and take our certification and sell engagements to companies. I also think it's hilarious that you and I can't just go buy some Legos and start doing this. You need to be certified, as if it's like you're a doctor or something. You're an official Lego trainer. So there's an entire industry built just around training new Lego trainers, right? That's a business. There are companies that just do that. They have big conferences and conventions, and there are thousands and thousands of Lego trainers around the world. If you just do a Google search, it'll have you just go down a rabbit hole and you find this. It's such a big business that it's had a schism, and there's two camps, the original Lego people and the new Lego people, and both think the other one is wrong. And and essentially you sit down and you do a bunch of exercises. Like one is think of a problem that you have at work that's really you can't solve, or think of something you really don't like about work. Now build that out of Legos. So, without being, you don't have to be literal. You just make you build whatever you want, and then it gets people talking. So there is this idea that very introverted software engineers who tend to be kind of shy and keep to themselves, it forces them to get out and start talking about stuff and externalizing it and talking about their work process. So that in turn, if you do that in a group, gets everybody kind of talking about, well, I like to write software this way, you like to do it this way. And so, maybe it opens up. And there's one called Make a Duck, which I write about in the book, where I met with a Lego trainer for half a day and did some of these exercises, and she sort of ran through, if you were my not patient, but if you were working at a company and I was doing this is one we would do called Make a Duck. It's the most famous Lego Serious Play workshop. You get 6 pieces. It's always the same 6 pieces, and say make a duck. You got 30 seconds. Go. And so I opened the book with me sitting in a coffee shop in Menlo Park doing this, and hilarity ensues, as I sit there trying to make a duck. So, I don't think it's evil. I don't think anybody's setting out to, let's ruin people's lives. I just think it's maybe pointless, and I actually think for some people it could really be stressful. I think for me it was stressful even in the coffee shop. But if I was thinking like, God, my job hinged on this, and I'm 50 something years old, and I know they want to fire me. They're guys my age, we have targets on our back, and now we got to play with toys. And if I don't play with the toys right, I might lose my job. So I think for some people it could be stressful. Also, I just think it's weird to be in an encounter group with people that you work with. I think that's awkward and weird, and it's you're kind of peeking into your brains and having this sort of. I think I say it's like an est workshop with the added indignity of toys. It's so yeah. I don't know. I think it's there's a lot of silliness that has come about as people go fetching around looking for answers to the question of how should we work. So yeah, the Lego thing is one of my favorites.